Tonight on the Rambler Sports Locker, men's soccer clashed with city rivals the DePaul Blue Demons earlier this week in the Red Line rivalry. RSL reporter Patricia Martinez shares her top 5 freshman athletes. Later on, Dylan Conover's Ramble analysts discuss the Cleveland Browns in this week's Ramble. Welcome back, Rambler fans, to another edition of the Rambler Sports Locker. I'm Onion.
And I'm Hayley Spitler. This week, the men's soccer team continued their impressive run of form away from home at Central Arkansas. The men's soccer team headed to Central Arkansas to take on the Bears on October 1st. The Ramblers got off to a great start, taking the early advantage in just under 6 minutes. Junior forward Elliot Collier found himself outside the 18-yard box where he unleashed a strike past the keeper. Collier once again found the back of the net off across from junior midfielder Brody Crossell in the 25th minute. Loyola went on to ease past Central Arkansas with a final score of 3-1. Just 3 days later, the Ramblers squared off in one of the biggest games of the season against DePaul University in the esteemed Red Line rivalry. Right from the start, Loyola dominated possession but couldn't find the back of the net until sophomore forward Connor Stevenson buried his chance from within the box to put Loyola up just before halftime. In the second half, Elliot Collier slotted a pass down the left-hand side to sophomore forward Alec Lisinski, who managed to beat the onrushing goalkeeper, giving Loyola the 2-0 advantage. 2 goals would be enough for Loyola as their defensive shape and organization made it difficult for DePaul to create anything going forward. The Ramblers' victory over their local rivals pushed their record to 9-1-0 on this season. The Ramblers will host Drake University next Saturday, October 8th. Catch the game live on ESPN3 at 7:30 p.m.
Women's volleyball took on the Evansville Purple Aces on Friday, September 30th. Outside hitter Morgan Reardon had a successful evening, coming away with 10 kills and 4 blocks. Middle blocker Sammy Hansen also had an impressive performance with 11 kills and 7 blocks. The Ramblers won 3-0. The team's next test came against Southern Illinois on Saturday, October 1st. Starting with freshman setter Delilah Wolf, who hit a service ace during the first set. That set would ultimately be won with a kill from senior middle blocker Sammy Hansen. Outside hitter Gabby Majikowski also had a great night, finding the corner multiple times and putting up an impressive 21 kills. While the Ramblers did lose the third set to SIU, they came back to win the fourth. Hansen had the final kill that won the match for the Ramblers. The Ramblers win 3-1. The team is now 3-1 in MVC play. Freshman setter Delilah Wolf was announced as the Missouri Valley Conference Freshman of the Week. This is her second consecutive week to be honored with the title. Wolf leads the Ramblers with 682 assists and 18 aces this season. The women's volleyball team announced a schedule change for this season. The match against conference rival Missouri State has been moved from November 4th to Sunday, November 6th. But before that, women's volleyball is looking to put their winning streak on the line as they face Wichita State on October 7th and Missouri State on October 8th.
Both the men and women's cross-country teams participated in the Notre Dame Invitational this past Friday. Redshirt junior Alex Baker led the men's team with a time of 25 minutes, 26 seconds in a 5-mile goal race, earning him 34th place overall individually. Senior Chandler Diffie checked in just a mere 20 seconds later, claiming the 58th finish. The women's team was led by junior Emma Hatch. Hatch turned in a time of 17 minutes, 53.8 seconds, a personal best in the 5-mile gold race. Hatch took 34th overall individually. Sophomore Julia Demko followed behind, coming in 61st place. Hatch has now led the women's team twice in as many events. Overall, the men's finished in 11th in the team race and the women finished in 14th. The men and women's cross-country team will participate in the Bradley Classic next Friday, October 14th.
Women's soccer opened up MVC conference play against Missouri State on October 2nd in Springfield, Missouri. Early in the first half, senior defender Shelby Koch served in an outswinging corner that was met at the back post but was headed just wide. Later in the first half, sophomore midfielder Madison Kimball broke the deadlock with a well-struck free kick from outside Missouri State's area. Sophomore striker Jenna Chesney also found the back of the net with a nice finish, sliding the ball past the goalkeeper at the back post, sealing Loyola's 2-0 win. With this win, the Ramblers move to 1-0-0 in conference play. The team's next challenge comes against the Evansville Purple Aces this Saturday, October 8th, which you can catch live on ESPN3 at 5 p.m. The Missouri Valley Conference named senior Ashley Bovey Defensive Player of the Week for her hard work on the soccer field. This is Bovey's first collegiate weekly honor and comes after the win against Missouri State. The defender is one of only 2 Ramblers to start in all 12 games.
From a rocky season start, the women's soccer is working on reclaiming the rest of its season.
Ramble host and RSL reporter Dylan Conover sat down with head coach Barry Bimby and defensive player Ashley Bovey to talk more about the rest of their upcoming season.
A big problem for the Loyola women's soccer team so far this season had been an inability to score goals. The Ramblers only scored 7 goals in their first 10 games. Head coach Barry Bimby says that was part of playing tougher competition in the non-conference part of the season.
Getting the right combination at a conference is sometimes difficult, but I think this year it did prepare us. The results weren't what we wanted in our non-conference schedule, but I think we learned a lot. And we've gotten better every week, every game, and I think we are hitting stride right now.
In its last 2 games, the team has scored 9 goals, and not surprisingly, has won both of those games, which senior defender Ashley Bovey says is a result of the team finally finding its groove.
Starting off, I think we just weren't connected. I think the forwards were together and the midfield was together, defense, but we weren't connected throughout the entire field. And so I think once we did find that connection and we could go from defense to midfield to forward, then we were able to put the ball in the back of the net. And scoring 9 goals in the past 2 games is huge for us going forward. And I think, we just needed that confidence.
According to Bimby, the offensive production is a result of finally finding the right combination of players, which helps the team defensively as well.
I think we're starting games a little bit better with the rotation that we have currently, so that helps. You're not starting on your back foot when the game is starting. We're attacking. We've scored a lot of early goals recently, so that now playing with a lead changes things. So the combination's right, but it's a good group. They really believe in each other. They'll do anything for each other. They enjoy being around each other. So the results weren't going right early, but they kept pushing each other and they kept believing that if we get better every week, every game, the conference schedule is going to take care of itself.
Last season, the team made it all the way to the Missouri Valley Conference Championship, but lost in a penalty shootout to the University of Evansville. Loyola's next opponents are the Purple Aces, and Bovey says she has not forgotten about what could have been.
It's 3 points regardless of who it is, but knowing that they did beat us out last year in double overtime in a shootout, I think that winning in a shootout doesn't really prove who's a better team. So I think for me it's a little bit of a revenge thing. So I'd like to come out and score first on them.
While the non-conference part of the season didn't end like he wanted, Bimby says the conference play is what really matters.
You want to win every game that you play, but the girls took the message properly. We're not getting too down after losses, not getting too high after wins in the non-conference, because they know it's all preparation for the conference play. Game to game, you're going to see different styles in the Valley, and I think that's why it's beneficial to play the games that we did in the non-conference schedule.
The Ramblers finished their non-conference play 2-7-2, but with a win against Missouri State University, the Ramblers are 1-0 undefeated in their conference play, and they look to continue that unbeaten streak against Evansville on Saturday, October 8th at 5 p.m. at Hoyne Field. For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Dylan Conover.
Thanks, Dylan. Men's basketball coach Porter Moser announced last week that the Ramblers have signed Igor Chivorovich to a national letter of intent. Chivorovich is a 6'8", 190-pound forward from Nikšić, Montenegro. He has previously played for KK Sujeska, Nikšić, and for Montenegro in the U18 European Championship in 2014. He joins 9 other newcomers for the 2016-17 season. Men's basketball kicks off its season November 11th at home against Alcorn State.
The men's golf team headed to Ohio on Monday to take part in the Cleveland State Invitational. Freshman pair Nick Bonema and Justin LaFrance stood out with impressive outings on the day. Bonema went 2 over par 74 and LaFrance had 2 rounds of 75. After Monday's results, the team finished in 11th place in the standings. The women's team opened up their MVC preview this past Monday as well, finding more production from more underclassmen. Sophomore Elena Bowser and freshman Morgan Brown both maintained a high-level performance. Brown got off to a good start, shooting par 72, and is now tied for 23rd in the rankings. Bowser also shot 275s and is sitting in 20th place in the standings. A new school year means a new class of student athletes. The class of 2020 is filled with talented players. Many of these individuals have already contributed impressive performances.
RSL reporter Patricia Martinez is here to discuss her top 5 Loyola freshman athletes. For this week's top 5, I analyzed the most outstanding freshman athletes that have played a key role in their team's success so far this season. Starting at number 5 is men's cross-country runner Connor McHugh. Last Friday, the freshman continued his debut for Loyola with a new record time of 25 minutes and 52 seconds, shedding nearly 1 minute off his 5-mile time at the National Catholic Championship. At number 4 is German men's soccer player Marius Coleman. As a starter, Coleman has shown an impressive start in his college career, playing in all 9 games this season, not to mention adding a goal to the scoreboard. At number 3 for women's soccer, freshman Sienna Cruz has been involved in a total of 6 games with an assist so far this season. The women's soccer team looks promising as they welcome a total of 8 new freshman players to the team. At number 2, the women's cross-country team brings in freshman Rita Morris. Last Friday at the National Catholic Championships, the team finished strong as senior Hatch led the pack, later followed by freshman Morris that finished with a time of 18 minutes and 18 seconds. And finally, at number 1 is freshman Nick Bonema, who leads the Loyola men's golf team with an average of 76.7. I had the opportunity to speak to head coach Eric Hoops, where he tells us a little bit about Bonema's progress and talent.
I always look at it as, okay, what can this person do in order to help us win a Missouri Valley championship, you know? It's the same thing with every team. You got to kind of fill in your holes of, you know, where each of those players fit in that entire thing. And Nick's one of those guys that we got to have playing on the top of his game. He's got to be competing to win that MVC championship individually, and if he's doing that, it'll put us in a pretty good spot as a team.
That's all for this week's Top 5. I'm Patricia Martinez. Back to you, Aaron.
Thanks, Patricia. In NFL news, it comes as no surprise that the Cleveland Browns are once again off to a dreadful 0-4 start.
Dylan Conover and his Ramble analysts discuss what the Browns need to do to save their season in this week's Ramble.
Hi, welcome to this week's Ramble. I'm Dylan Conover, and I'm joined again with Henry Redman and Mike Niche. And guys, today we're talking about the Browns. What's wrong with them? They're the only team left without a win in the NFL. Henry, we'll start with you. What's wrong?
I mean, they're on their third-string quarterback. 2 of those losses easily could have been wins. 1 field goal to win it against the Dolphins. They were blowing out the Ravens in the first half. They're not playing horribly, but, you know, a couple things don't go their way, they're 0-4.
I think that a couple things are more than what he's talking about. It's 4 and no wins yet, so I think that they have to focus on playing 4 quarters. You say that they've been close a couple times, a field goal and blowing out the Ravens.
The Dolphins,
they were
blowing out the Ravens in the first half.
Henry,
is
they're
wonderful
12th,
if it's a 2-quarter game, but it's not a 2-quarter game.
They're the 12th overall offense and the 22nd overall defense. It's clearly a defensive issue. They were up 20-0 against Baltimore.
No, I'll point out you have to score more points than the other team. If you're giving up a lot of points, you're going to have trouble with that. Especially, as you pointed out, if you're on your 3rd quarterback. They haven't made it to the playoffs more than 2 times since you were born. That's a wow. That's like at least 15 years.
Well, the first 2 years of my life, they didn't exist.
Okay, Mike, so you're
that's
Sashi
tough.
Brown. Okay, you're in charge of everything.
No, I'm not.
What do you do? What is the first thing you do right now?
Probably get out of Cleveland. I don't think that it's a healthy relationship. I think that the Browns would be better somewhere else. The Rams, maybe that's going to be
you think the Browns need to actually move?
I mean, it's not Cleveland's fault. The Cleveland's a fine city. The Indians are in the playoffs of their league.
Henry, as our native Clevelander, what do you think the Browns should be doing right now?
In the NBA, the Cavaliers just won the championship.
Mike.
So I don't think it's.
We're talking about the Browns here.
You can't.
Sure
you
are.
can't move the Browns again if you want Cleveland to still be a city. I suggest they don't try to turn around this season. Lose every other game on purpose. Guarantee the #1 pick. Get a quarterback with the first overall pick next year. They have 2 picks in the first round next year.
Why would you want a quarterback?
Can I say it's
They
not,
need
it's
a
not about
quarterback.
first-round picks. It's about building youth and having a good foundation.
Yes, it's a process.
I know.
It is Hugh
But
Jackson's
that's not gonna
first
help
year.
them. That's not going to help them this year. This year, they need to accept a loss against the Patriots this week, focus on getting a win against the Titans. That's the only way they're going to get a win. Titans next week, not the Patriots this week. Tom Brady coming back.
Is Cody Kessler enough for them to get a win against the Titans?
The Titans are a bad team too, so maybe. Anything can happen, right?
Terrell Pryor is enough to get a win against the Titans.
I don't think one wide receiver is going to be able to do it for them this season.
Well, I don't know. I don't think we need to go as extreme as removing them from Cleveland like you're saying, Mike, but I do agree they maybe need to focus just a bit more on closing games out, especially after they've been holding them. So I'm going to have to go with you on this one.
I think so.
Henry, you've been dethroned. It's been great having you on, but we're going to have to go with Mike. Mike, we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Dylan, and thanks, Mike, for finally dethroning Henry.
For all our episodes and the chance to get in on the conversation, follow and like our social media handles for an up-to-date look at all things Rambler Sports.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Hayley Spitler.
And I'm Onion. Check back here next week for another episode of Rambler Sports Locker.
And as always, don't forget to turn out the lights.